Half a day, Flosstube.
I'm Little One.
And I'm Lynette here at Homesteading on the Home Front. It is Friday, February 9th, and Little One is home from school because it's another professional development day.
Yay!
She has caught a frog of the throat kind, not the stitchy kind, so her talking may be minimal today, but we wanted to get this video done. Oops, sorry, because we have a lot to talk about. So, first things first, we need to send a huge thank you out to Abby at Top Knot Stitcher. She contacted me asking for our address because she had a card to send. Okay, I knew she was doing her, stitchy card kindness, and so the other day we got this huge box in the mail and I was so confused. I couldn't figure out who sent this stuff to us because I certainly didn't buy that from eBay. And then the last thing I pulled out of the box was the card, and it was signed by Abby. And so we each got some of these lovely Target envelopes that she's talked about. We are an 8-hour plane flight away from the nearest Target, which would be in Honolulu. So whenever y'all talk about the Target dollar spots, I get a little jealous. And then she filled all of the envelopes with all these amazing goodies. And we each got cross-stitch projects. And eldest got her own envelope too. So thank you very much, Abby. It's very appreciated.
Show her card.
Beautiful card. So thank you. It was a lovely surprise, and the kids were very entertained going through their envelopes. And you want to tell her what you've done with all of your stuff?
So, a little bag says "You were born to sparkle." It's got some cool stuff in it. It's got a little notebook. I plan to do something cross-stitch related in it. I just don't know what quite yet. I keep this notepad in my room. I'm not sure if you can see it. For like when I have homework and stuff that I just remembered it, that I have to do like immediately or something. There's this to-do. It's magnetic and it's dry erase. I keep this in my locker so that I can write all my homework down throughout the week and I won't forget anything. Yeah.
So, thanks again, Abby. That was very thoughtful. I also need to say thank you to Hillary in Maine. She goes by Rustic Thread 22 on Instagram. I had won an eBay auction for some Santa charts and some linen, and she said, "Are you the Flosstuber? I watch you," which was kind of neat because that was the first time that I had been recognized, I guess. So she sent some extras in with my purchase that Little One immediately claimed for herself.
There were two charts. There was a fat Santa and a tall skinny Santa, which I love both of them, and some purple floss and some Ada to do the Santas on, and I can't wait to do the Santas when Christmas comes around again.
So thank you, Hillary. My third and final thank you is to Kelly of the Joan and Kelly Show. Because I participated in Quilt Off last weekend. Friday I started stitching bibs, and I got a lot of them made. I had the fabric for these for a while because I wanted to make these to get good at sewing the curves. I'm an okay sewer when it comes to straight lines, but I need to practice on curves. So I figured bibs would be a good way to do that in practical. I could give them as baby gifts and stuff. So basically one side it is cotton and one side is flannel. it really doesn't matter. You can use both sides cotton, both sides flannel. So I got a ton of these made on Friday.
Don't know what we're going to use them all for.
Gifts, baby shower gifts. On Saturday morning, I got these Q-Snap Grime Guard covers made. I didn't know how hard or easy they were gonna be, so I just grabbed some scrap fabric. I had just purchased this in a lot from a local lady, so I didn't want to use like fabric that I was in love with because I didn't know how it would go. So I have an 8-inch Q-Snap and an 11-inch Q-Snap on the way. So I made one for the 8-inch and one for the 11-inch, and then 2 Q-Snaps if I wanted to mix and match and have an 8 by 11. So that was Saturday morning. Quilt Off got waylaid Saturday afternoon, and I'll get into more of that later. And then on Sunday, I was able to make a couple of project bags that I had cut out prior and just finally got them sewed up. And they're the same materials as I have already previously shown. So I think I showed them on Instagram, but I didn't grab them here. So I won the gift certificate to... is it the Fat Quarter Shop? I think so. I think that's the one, or fabric.com. It was a $20 gift certificate that Kelly gave. So thank you very much, Kelly. I am definitely going to be putting that to good use. So my waylaid quilt off on Saturday. Let me tell you why. Eldest wanted to go to the thrift store to find some jeans, because we're getting close. We are 3 months and a week away from leaving Tropical Island to return to what will be spring in New England. And we really don't wear jeans here. The kids have uniforms they have to wear to school. I am usually in sundresses and flip-flops. So we are going to need clothes to go back to New England with. And so Eldest wanted to go to the thrift store to see if she could find some jeans. So we went, and I found these beautiful wood frames. They were $6 each. I didn't know what size they were because I always have a measuring tape in my purse, and for some reason I didn't have it with me. But I thought they were the right size, like an 11 by 14. And so I bought 2 of them and came home. And it turns out, I measured as soon as I got home, and they're a little bigger. They're not a standard size. They're like 15 by 11 and a half, or I forget what exactly the size was, but it's the same ratio as an 11 by 14. So I had 2 projects that looked, I could tell immediately that they were going to look really great in the frames. So Saturday afternoon was spent stretching and lacing and framing. And little one was a great help. It went much quicker than Nantucket Girl because she was cutting and dividing the thread into 2 strands so that I could then just tie and lace. So without further ado, I am going to show you my 2 FFOs for the week. They are not the 2 FFOs you were probably expecting to see from me. So the first one you have seen before is an FO. And this is my New England sampler. I don't know if we can get it without the glare. That doesn't look bad. It is all framed up. Originally, this was the 13 colonies that I changed. And as you can see, it fits very nicely in the frame. So I am thrilled. Love how this one came out. Once again, no wall space here, so it won't be hung up for a while. But it's done and it's beautiful. The second one, I don't even have the pattern for it anymore, so I can't even show you what it's supposed to look like. I didn't change it too much. It's an old Plum Street. I think it was published in 2006. I forget. And I forget even like the real name of it. I think it might be Friendship Sampler or something like that. But the story behind this was in 2016, that's when it was finished. I suspect that it was started even before that. It was shortly after we got here on Guam that my best friend Stacy, who I mentioned before, she's going to be doing
Eye of the Sparrow?
Yes, His Eye is on the Sparrow. She's going to be doing that with me. But we decided we were going to do a stitch along. And so we poured through patterns to try to find one that we both loved. As I mentioned, my taste is a little more primitive than hers. So we finally found a pattern that we both really loved and thought would be great. And it turns out it was out of print even at that point. So it was a scramble to find it on eBay and yada, yada, yada. But finally got the pattern, stitched it up, finished it in 2016. If I'm remembering correctly, it was early in 2016 that this was finished. And so let me show it to you. Sorry, little one. This is what it looks like. In order to get it to fit into a standard size frame, I made it wider. I remember adding one more part of the border to the top and bottom. The crowns were not in the original pattern. I added them. My initials, her initials. It says, "The long road between us shall not our course part, for thy friendship is dear and kept close to my heart." And then stitched over one, it says, "Let the beauty of the Lord our God be upon us and establish the work of our hands." And so this is me right here with the blonde hair. And of course, a beehive and two chickens. This was our chicken named Scarlet. She was a Rhode Island Red, and this was our chicken we named Windy, who was a Colombian Wyandotte. This is Stacy and her cat Peanut, who has since passed away. So I'm happy that Peanut is forever memorialized. And the year 1993, which was when we first met in college. And so I love how this came out. I love how the orange of the frame kind of picks up the orange in the house. Stacy had a great idea when she did hers. She stitched a milk jug over here because her husband's family, they had a dairy farm. And then she put all of the initials of our spouses and kids scattered around. So I liked that idea. But anyway, again, love how this one came out.
I love that our cat Max is playing with the thread because he always does that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about our cat Max. Yep. Which brings me into this scene right here. I don't know if you guys have seen the new Scarlet House Club piece, but it says, "Come stitch with me," or "Come sit with me and be my friend, we'll stitch together till the end," or something like that. Mama Joan just completed it. I really want that chart, so I am really hoping that Tanya will release it after the year is up and it's no longer a club piece. Or if you're in the club and you've already stitched it and you're done with it, I would love to buy it from you because I just think that that would look perfect, like either above or below this frame, you know, together with the two chairs and the two stitchers. So anyway, again, this was an old Plum Street. And I think it's called the Friendship Sampler. I'm not sure. So yeah, that was a complete surprise. I did not think that I would ever have those two framed up before I left here because finding frames is hard. So that was a pleasant surprise and it was a real bargain. Okay, so let's talk about finished objects, which we both have. You want to go first?
Sure. the first one is from the chart that Top Knot Stitcher gave me. It's a little bird. I wanted a break from my whips, and I thought it would be really cute and fast, and it was. And this one is a heart. I'll talk more about it later, but I actually just did the back stitching on it because it was already stitched.
Why don't you tell them, go ahead and tell them why it was already stitched.
So, at some point, Mom went to a thrift store without us, and there was a plastic bag that came with it, and this really cute magazine that had a lot of cute stuff in it. And I was in the car because she had picked us up from school, and I was looking through it, and what fell onto my lap? But the heart, and I was like, it's so pretty. And I found the chart, and it still needed to be backstitched. There was some really cute supplies that came with it, so I can't wait to stitch the patterns for all my friends and family when they have birthdays or something.
Yeah, I had seen that at the thrift store, and it was marked $3, and I was like, that's kind of expensive for my blood. So I briefly opened up the vinyl bag that it was in, and I saw that there was a pair of scissors in there, and I was like, oh, a magazine and scissors? No problem. I'll pay $3 for it. And so, yeah, another stitch work just fell into our lap.
Yep.
All right, so you did your bird and heart. So that means I get to show my 2 FOs, because I also had 2 FOs this week. And it's probably not the 2 that you're thinking they are. So the first one won't surprise you. I did finish Miss Baxter. This is what she's supposed to look like. This is not what she looks like now. So this is my Miss Baxter all stitched up. I took out Miss Baxter, added in the verse. I eliminated the outer border so that it would fit into a standard frame, and added the verse, and I love how it came out. I can't wait to see this one framed up. And then the second FO is also a start. I had showed you last week, bless you, the Hearts and Flowers by Kathy Barrick, or Carriage House. And I had showed you the Victorian Motto flosses that came in the January box I got. And so I happened to be looking through it, and let's see where I can find. I was trying to find fabric to thoroughly kit it up so it would be ready to go when I wanted to go. And again, it was great that all of the sizes were done. And I looked at the 28 count, and I was like, that's not going to fit into a standard size frame. And I looked at the 16 or the 32 count, that's not going to fit. What am I going to do? Because if you look at this pattern, there's not a lot of leeway. I guess I could have added something on the top or the bottom, but there's not a lot of leeway like most samplers as far as changing the size. And then I got to the 40 count. And I was like, ooh, 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. That is going to fit perfectly into a 5 by 7 frame on 40 count. Now, it just so happens, I am not a 40 count stitcher. I've never stitched on 40 count before, but I had some in my stash because I wanted to try it. And I really wanted to try it in the near future so that I could determine whether or not I wanted to stitch His Eyes on the Sparrow on 40 count. So I found a piece of vintage pearled barley that I had ordered, and I had finished Miss Baxter on Saturday night. No, Sunday morning. And so I knew I would want something to start immediately. The Super Bowl for us was on Monday morning here, and I knew I wanted to stitch something during the Super Bowl. So I said, well, I have my flosses, I have the chart, I have the fabric. Let's go ahead and start Hearts and Flowers.
It is so small.
And I finished it yesterday afternoon. The only changes that I made, I don't even know if you can tell by looking at it. There are actually 2 shades of yellow in here, and there are 2 shades of dark. One is garnet and the other is terracotta, I think. But I only used 1 shade of the darker color and 1 shade of yellow. And this border and the words kind of look brown, but they're not. They were like a khaki green, but I made them brown with all my Victorian motto threads. And I love the way this came out. It's gonna look very nice and it does. It fits perfectly into a 5x7. So as soon as I can find one for cheap, we'll pop that in and have it framed up. But I love the way this one came out. I did not mind stitching on the 40 count. I actually kind of liked it. I was able to stitch fine without glasses or light during the day. In the evening, I needed the light and I needed my cheaters, which I think they're like a 1.5. So I decided that I'm not going to do his eyes on the sparrow on 40 count for 2 reasons. The first is it's going to be a statement piece. It's going to be large, so I'm not going to fight that. I'm not going to do it on 28 count because that might be too large, but I think I'm going to stick to like a 35 or 36 count because I can absolutely work on that day or night without light or magnifier. And I knew that because I'm stitching it with Stacy and hopefully Lorinda, I'm going to want to take it to her house and stitch, or take it if we have a girls' weekend or whatever. And so I didn't want to have to do it on 40 count and then take my glasses and take an aught light. I wanted to just be able to pick it up and stitch wherever I was. So I think I'm going to find a piece of 35 or 36 count and do sparrow on that one. But those are my 2 FOs for the week. Which brings us into whips. Okay. Tell us what you've been working on.
So this one I showed you, this is the sampler that I started in 2nd grade, I think, or 3rd grade or something.
See it?
Not really. So forward I only had A, B, C, and part of the D, and part of the border. You can see that there's a little color change there because we couldn't get it exact. But we picked colors and I think they're really pretty. And yeah, I'm glad I got a lot done.
So she needs to find a motif or a saying to put down here, and she came up with a saying that she wanted, and I said that's going to be too big to fit here. We're not going to be able to fit that, I don't think. And so she decided she wanted to chart that up and do it as a separate project. And so I set her up at the computer with my my software, and I literally showed her, okay, this is how you make a stitch and this is how you undo the stitch. And in no time flash, she had that sucker charted up and it came out really cute. So I hope she gets to work on that soon so that she can show you what that is, because I like it. All right, you want to show romance?
Sure. I had not had this started the last time you saw me, so this will all be new to you. You've seen this a lot by now. It's that one right there. I actually did a few changes to it, but this is what I have so far.
Here, I'll hold it. You tell them what changes you made.
So one of the key romances that I've read and I think of automatically is Beauty and the Beast. So I realize now that I could have just done the apron yellow to be her fancy dress, but I changed.
Because the original dress was charted in yellow.
But there was hardly any blue in it, and there was a lot of blue in the mystery, so I decided that I'd change it to like her town dress. And I also changed the guy's hair to be blonde instead of brown, because brown hair for Belle, brown hair for him, and brown pants would be really boring. And I also changed these little red flower thing. They were supposed to be blue, but since the whole thing that Beauty and the Beast revolves around is a rose, I changed it to red.
Not too far to go, just the bottom section that says romance, right?
Yeah, and the border.
Yeah.
And then my final one is from the 1992 cross-stitch calendar. Let's see if I can find the picture. It's that one right there. It's a little cat. I changed it a little so it wouldn't be all brown, because our cat is not brown. He's gray and black. But this is what I have so far. He's turning out pretty good. I've got most of over here done, and I just have to work here and down here. I'll probably have him finished the next time you see me.
That's been her school project.
Yeah.
So if she finishes her work early or whatever.
I stitched, and I started that because I didn't want to get something on a big piece that I was working on, like romance, and be so upset because it's ruined. So I just wanted a little piece I could work on.
Okay, so I have 2 whips going right now. Some day last week, I was very happy to get my package from Annie's. So I am stitching on the Little Red Barn. This is my first time working with the stretcher bars, and I have to say I am really, really liking them. It's the perfect size for these ornaments. It's lightweight, it's small and compact. I'm not going to have any hoop marks to iron out, so I'm really enjoying the stretcher bar thing. Stitching in the ditch, or in the well, stitching in the well, as a tribute to my dear Donna Ray. So yeah, really enjoying this one. I am making a few changes. I haven't made them yet, but I will be. So there will not be sheep in my Little Red Barn project. That's all I'm going to say for now. So that's my first whip. The second whip I really haven't done anything on. It's the Snowy Village project that you've all seen. Still waiting for the Q-snaps to come so that I can get that mounted and backstitched. That pattern is going to Andy at Nana's Needles when it's all done. And Vanna, I know that you liked the pattern and couldn't find it, so Andy has agreed that when she is done with it, she will send it on to you. So I'm excited that that little pattern is going to a couple of good homes in the future. Plans. What are you working on? What are you planning to work on after you're done your romance, which won't be that far away?
Well, last week, or whenever the last Flosstube was, Mom showed the piece that she liked in the Just Cross Stitch magazine of whatever year.
Does it say on there? April of 1990. I was a junior in high school.
I was looking through it, and I found, you can't show the chart, I found a piece that I thought that I really liked, and I thought that you guys would like, because I know a lot of you guys have pets.
Why did you have this marked? That was poor planning.
But anyway, it's really cute.
It's another cat.
Yes. She has a thing for chickens. I have a thing for cats. There's a dog one too. It says my cat is special and my dog is special. Right there and right there. My dad said that I should put my cat is special because our cat is kind of, isn't the sharpest knife in the drawer or something. What's that saying?
I don't know.
Something
Sharpest
like
tool in the shed. All right, we are at 29 minutes. This is going to shut off on us any second from now, but I wanted to do a shout out. I wanted to shout out SamplerBird, who is a new Flosstuber we have a lot of similar tastes. So go check her out, and we will see you soon. Bye.